Okay, what do we need? My chill's kind of low, but we just had chill. I don't think we've had a hunger event that I recall. But I do have 8, which is pretty respectable. So let's try to get some more pride, because I'm worried about that one. Surely I'll get enough hunger that way. Okay, let's do this. Yeah. Got hunger and pride. What? What now? Oh, fine.
You seem to pick that
Fireplaces hate me. Okay, that was respectable.
This was actually more productive than your previous week. So, I don't remember how...
yeah, that's it. That's it.
So, did you hear about the fellow next door? Seems he's not an Oriental or an Indian at all. That's what Sarah said.
Luckily for Becky, Cook was not in enough of a temper to clout her for calling Sarah Miss in her hearing.
She's gonna school you.
Well, Becky's good at punching.
Yeah.
Suppose she'd know all about English gentlemen living in that place. I tell you, you'd never get me there, not if I had to jump off a boat and swim home. Nothing good ever come from India. It's all tigers and cobras and midgets that suck the blood right out of you or spit back poison. It's a wonder the children live long enough to be shipped back here.
If only Papa had let me stay there.
Anyhow, seeing that fellow gone and run himself into a hole. Thought he'd lost his whole fortune, he did, and it drove him to a wreck, thinking he was ruined forever. He weren't, of course. Still rich as anything, though it'd do him no good if he died of fret. Trouble was all about mines, and mines with diamonds in them.
Oh, no way it's the friend of her dad. The odds of that are way too low. That would be ridiculous.
Okay.
No saving a mine never goes into no mines, particularly diamond ones. We all know something of them.
Becky gulped and nodded.
He felt as my papa felt. He was ill, just like my papa, but he did not die. Not yet. Poor man. I hope he will be well. Perhaps he has a child in England as well. For the sake of that child, I would help him any way I could. Or for his own sake, and the sake of my papa, whom I could not save. Oh, I'm not chill enough! Are you kidding me? Oh! Ah! Chill! Baby back ribs! That's... Oh, 1 point! We were just cold, Becky. Why do we need to be cold again?
You want to load?
Oh... Kinda. I don't know. Am I gonna... Do I have, like, a free week, or am I gonna be doomed to not complete the streak?
Do you want to load or not?
Yeah. I want to be cold. Yeah.
Alright. Load. Go to autosave.
Autosave.
Probably the one before that. A2. Try A2.
You see that one?
Yeah, try that one.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get chill. Watch me fail at it. I could have gotten chill. No, I wouldn't have. All right. Okay, so kitchen duty is not chill. That's chill. That's chill. I just need 1 point. Surely that's enough, right? Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
My luck is poo. I better just do another one. Okay. I've got at least 5 everything else. I forget what it was, but it was all 5s. Okay, here we go. Becky. Not Becky. What's your face, Sarah? Dang, it's a good thing I did it. I just got the 1. But dang, I got pride. I have pride in my loading.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So just click through it. There is a skip feature, but while I don't think I don't think it would skip through what we haven't seen, I just want to be careful.
Sure.
In the afternoon, there was a knock upon the front door of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary, signaling that the post had arrived. Sara, who was nearest, laid aside her bucket and brush and went to fetch it. She was just stepping back through the door with a small box and a handful of letters when everything went wrong all at once. The yowl of an enraged feline, a series of thumps and bangs, someone falling, the scream of a young girl.
Becky!
Sara rushed at once to the stairs, discarding the deliveries on a small table as she passed, not even looking to see if they had landed correctly. There was Becky, collapsed against the wall at the foot of the stairs like a doll that had been thrown away.
Oh my gosh. If I hadn't had the stuff for this event, Becky could have, this could be fatal.
And there was Tybalt, a furious gray streak rushing straight past Sara's legs and out the door of the school.
Oh, now Sarah's gonna get blamed.
No!
Are you alright?
Oh, miss.
Though the tears streaking her face surely indicated that she was in pain, Becky was already struggling to get back to her feet.
You're hurt. You shouldn't move.
We've got to catch him. The miss will hang me by the ears if we don't. Please, miss. My life won't be worth nothing if we lose him.
It was unfortunately true. Miss Minchin set more value on that cat than on the welfare of any scullery maid. Even if Becky had broken a leg in the fall, she would not be forgiven. There was no time for Sara to apologize for leaving the door open. To have any hope of recovering Tybalt, they had to act at once. Sara held out her hands to help Becky up.
Can you walk? If you can't, I'll go.
I'm fine, miss. It's only bruises. I've had worse. They moved out onto the streets of London together.
There, a tail.
She kept hold of Becky's hand, in case the other girl was unsteady on her feet.
You should go back, miss. If the missus think we've run off, she might call the coppers. If it's only me.
We'll both be punished no matter what happens. If we at least find Tybalt, it'll go easier for us. And we have a better chance if we're both looking. Not if you're standing together. You need to separate, ladies.
Well, it's a busy street. They might have a different set of eyes.
I guess.
It's probably more crowded than the view lets on. The task could have been much worse. A grey cat loose in the streets of London might have vanished entirely, never to be seen again by any but the owners of disreputable pie shops.
Does that imply that they're going to put her in a pie, or the cat's going to go eat some pie?
I think that they're going to put the cat in a pie.
Whoa.
Tybalt, however, appeared to be playing a game, keeping always out of reach but rarely out of sight. They wove their way from street to street, occasionally having to beg directions off kindly-looking adults who might have seen the grey cat go by.
Becky keeps wincing when she thinks I'm not looking. I'm sure she's hurt. I need to get her home. If only that cat would cooperate.
The church.
There, he's gone inside.
Are we allowed, miss? It's not a Sunday.
God will understand. Perhaps the angels will guide us. My mother, my papa, and yours.
I hope you're right, miss.
The two little girls walked on their toes past the empty pews, their thin shoes making little more noise than a cat's paws. Becky caught Sara's arm and pointed to a staircase going up just as Tybalt padded out of sight.
The bell tower.
Up and up and up they climbed. There was no sign of Tybalt, but neither were there any exits. He had to be somewhere ahead of them. Becky paused, her hand against the wall, her shoulders heaving.
Are you all right? Do you need to rest?
I can do it. I can do it. We're almost there. Ain't we?
I hope so.
At last, they found the door and broke free into the sky. The tower top seemed a desolate place, bare stone walls out in empty arches that began at waist height. There was no glass, since that would impede the sound of the bells. One could almost reach out and touch the clouds. This high up on a clear day, the air was even colder than usual. After so many steps, Sara couldn't help gasping for breath, but that breath locked up in her throat. There was no sign of the tower keeper, nor of any angels, nor of Tybalt. Somehow, they had lost him. Sarah's knees gave out. She slid down to sit on the cold floor, wheezing through her hands as she fought to recapture her strength. Becky didn't look any better. Her face was pale beneath the dirt, and she clutched at the window's edge for support. There, as she leaned over, she suddenly caught sight of...
Miss! Miss! There!
What?
She tried to answer, but the words weren't coming.
I can see you, miss. I can just about reach.
Oh, so help me if she falls. This is not cool. She can't fall. That would be too stupid to have two losses like that close together. Tybalt's out on the church roof? Becky, no. You're too weak.
It was too late. Desperate to retrieve the lost cat, Becky had already begun to climb over the wall.
Here, puss puss.
And then the inevitable happened. She lost her balance.
Becky!
Sarah would never clearly remember those seconds, how Becky screamed, how Sarah leapt from her crouch, how her fingers stretched through the air.
Oh my gosh.
And caught Becky's hand.
Not cool. And why is my dress a different color? What happened to the black dress?
Well, that's probably just their way of representing black.
Okay. Alright, we're good. Hang on!
It wasn't enough. Sarah was too weak, too thin. Her grip kept Becky from plummeting to certain death, but she could not possibly pull her back up.
Bellkeeper dude's gonna come. Lift your other arm. Try to grab the edge.
Becky flailed upwards, but her fingers fell far short of the mark. Hanging suspended by one arm put the rest of her body at too much of an angle to reach.
I can't.
Grab anything. Brace your feet on anything. Just find a way to hold on.
Her feet and their thin soles scrabbled against the stones, trying to find a toehold. For a moment, the strain on Sarah's arm eased, and then Becky's foot slipped, and the sudden jolt made her socket burn with pain.
I'm gonna die.
Don't look down. Just hold on, Becky. Hold on.
I'm gonna fall.
You can't fall. I'm holding you.
But, miss, you can't.
I won't let you fall. I promise. Now hold on, and don't be frightened. I'm going to scream so someone can hear us, all right? Don't be afraid.
Miss.
Sarah squeezed her hands tight and shrieked as loudly as she could until her throat ached with the force of it. After all those weeks of being silent in an attic, she felt like her uncaged voice ought to burst loose like a blast of trumpets. But against the vastness of the sky, one little girl's voice was soon swallowed up. When her scream had faded into a raspy cough, Sarah gulped hard and waited for a response. All she could hear was Becky's faint whimpering. She had stopped scrabbling against the wall with her feet now. She was only hanging there, quiet tears gleaming against the dirt on her cheeks.
It's going to be all right. The tower keeper will come. The angels will bring him to us. We're so high up, it's easy for them to see us here. You won't fall. I promised you, didn't I? I won't let go.
Miss.
It was hard to hear her voice now. There was no strength in it.
You can't blame yourself. It's all right.
What are you saying?
You can't hold on forever, miss. I know that, and maybe it won't be so bad. There's Evan, right, miss? Like you always told us. Cities of gold and fields of lilies and no Miss Minchin, and never having to work no more.
Her arm in Sarah's grip felt cold, as if the life were already leaking away from her.
My life weren't never gonna get better down here. So don't feel bad, miss, if you have to let go. I'll still love you. I'll watch over you with them angels.
No! Now you listen to me. You're the most important thing in the world to me, and I will never, ever give up on you. What do you think my life would be like without you? If you slip and fall, I will jump after you.
Miss, that's a mortal sin.
Then the angels had better hurry up and stop me.
That's not proper Christian.
I have faith.
All of a sudden, Becky's weight shifted ever so slightly in Sarah's arms. Her eyes went wide with panic until she realized that Becky had turned her head to see
Tybalt!
Who cares about the stupid cat?
Completely unconcerned, as if he had nothing to do with the drama transpiring around him, the cat sauntered his way along the edge, hopped over, and curled up on the floor near Sarah's feet.
You see, there are miracles after all.
It was not until much later that the two girls were able to return to Miss Minchin's school. The man at the church who had finally pulled Becky to safety insisted on escorting the girls back. His presence were welcome, as both girls' arms were so sore and weak that they could not have safely contained Tybalt for the journey. At the door, they thanked their good Samaritan and sent him on his way, then shut the door firmly before depositing the cat back into his territory. There was no sign of Miss Minchin, no hubbub. They had not been missed at all.
Becky could have died today, and no one here will know, or care if they did. It's not right. No one appreciates her as she deserves, except for me. No one loves her as they should, except for me.
And there, as the realization struck her, she froze in place.
I love Becky, more than as a friend, more than any princess loved her king.
It felt selfish and prideful to place herself above others in that way, but in that moment, Sarah's heart was overflowing.
What can I do? We are both prisoners here. We are helpless, and Miss Minchin will grind us down to nothing. No matter how bad it seems, life has to be better. It just has to be. Miracles happen. Good people still exist. I will always believe that.
Sarah's growing sympathy for her neighbor added a new possibility to any errands she might be sent on in the evenings. There was the chance that his curtains might not be drawn and she might be able to see inside. When that was the case, if no one was about, she would stop and take hold of the iron railings, looking into those warm rooms and wishing good thoughts to her adopted friend.
Perhaps kind thoughts reach people somehow, even through windows and doors and walls. Perhaps you feel a little warm and comforted, and don't know why.
The man sat alone in an armchair by the fire, nearly always in a great dressing gown, and nearly always with his forehead resting in his hand as he gazed hopelessly into the fire.
He always seems as if he were thinking of something that worries him. He has got his money back, so he ought not to look like that. I wonder if there is something else. I hope you'll get well and happy again. I'm so sorry for you. I wish you had a little missus who could pet you as I used to pet Papa when he had a headache. I should like to be your little missus myself, poor man. Good night. Good night. God bless you.
She would go away feeling quite comforted and a little warmer herself. Her sympathy was so strong that it seemed as if it must reach him somehow. On this day, although Sarah's viewpoint through the window did not allow her to see it, the man of the house was not alone.
Carmichael, I cannot believe that the wretched woman has disappeared without a trace. With the loss of her two best-paying pupils in such a short time, Madame Pascal's finances were in great disarray. She apparently found it necessary to close her school entirely. It was something of a scandal in Paris which turned out to our benefit. Without those rumors, we might not have found the child's trail so quickly. But your sources have no idea what might have happened to her after that. As the story goes, after her father's death left her unprovided for, she was then adopted, taken in by the parents of the little girl, who had so recently died at that same school. The two girls had been close companions before the accident, you see. After that, a child without parents and parents without a child. It seemed the best solution all around. So this family, who were extremely well-to-do Russians, took the child off her hands. And after that, Madame Pascal found herself in difficulty and absconded. I have not been able to contact her. When I think of all the dreadful things that could happen in this world to a child without protection. If this is the child you are in search of, she would seem to be in the hands of people who can afford to take care of her. But you say if the child was the one I am in search of. You say if. We are not sure. Without Madame Pascal's confirmation of the father's identity, we cannot be certain. Still, the circumstances were curiously similar. An English officer in India had placed his motherless little girl at the school. He died suddenly after losing his fortune. If you are certain that the child was left at a school in Paris, it seems most likely that she is the one. My dear fellow, I am certain of nothing. I never saw either the child or her mother. The mother was a French woman, and I had heard she wished her child to be educated in Paris, but I cannot know.
As if drawn by the sound of raised voices, the Lascar whom Sarah had seen in the attic entered, bringing a tea service with him. Rest yourself, Sahib. You do no good if you are not well. He accepted a cup with a sigh. You are right as always, Ram. Still, I must find the girl. If she is alive, she is somewhere. If she is friendless and penniless, it is through my fault. Why was I not man enough to stand my ground when things looked black? My poor Ralph put into that scheme every penny that he owned. He trusted me. He loved me. And he died thinking I had ruined him. I, Tom Carrisford, who was at Eton closer than a brother to him. What a villain he must have thought me! Ramdas rested a comforting hand on his master's frail shoulder.
You were ill, Sahib. Your mind was not whole. You were not to blame. Overwhelmed with despair and half delirious with fever because I was weak. And then I ran away and collapsed in the jungle alone. I thought I wanted to die, and I know well that I nearly did.
He looked up at Carmichael with a self-deprecating smile.
It was only thanks to Ramdas that I was discovered and brought back to the hospital in time. If you had no strength of heart, Sahib, you would not have survived those weeks of fever.
Mr. Carrisford reached up and clasped the other man's hand.
You are too good to me.
Mr. Carmichael harrumphed gently, reminding them of his presence in the room.
Yes, well, when I returned to consciousness, poor Crew was dead and buried, and my own mind was in a haze.
I knew it was the dude. Oh.
I did not recall the child's existence for weeks, and I have never been able to remember her name.
Surely he must have spoken of her to you. Anything he said about the school could be a clue. With nothing more to go on, it will be difficult for me to tell if we have found the right girl. Unscrupulous people might not hesitate to provide a false heiress.
He used to call her by an odd pet name he had invented. He called her his Little Missus. But the wretched diamond mines drove everything else out of our heads.
Well, don't despair. We shall find her yet. According to my Paris sources, the good-hearted Russians who left Madame Pascal's school were named Anisimov. They most likely lived in Moscow. I will go there and see what can be learned.
If I were able to travel, I would go with you, but I can only sit here, wrapped in furs, and stare at the fire. I am useless.
You are improving. If I travel to Moscow and that is not Ralph Crew's child, I will return. By then, I am sure you will be able to move on to Paris with me to continue the search. Have faith. Carrisford shook his head.
When I look into the fire, I seem to see Crew's gay young face gazing back at me, waiting for me to reassure him, and I cannot answer. If only we had never parted or never reunited.
Is that truly what you wish, Sahib, that you had stayed together?
No. No, of course not. It would have come to the same end in time if we had traveled to France together as once we planned. And yet, better by far that I had never found him again than to know that it was I who brought him to ruin. I must not fail him now, whatever the cost.
And that is 3 weeks. So at this point we should save, and if you think you can continue, we'll continue. If you think we should call it a night tonight, then that's it for this session. Stop or continue?
You should probably stop.
Save then. Thank you very much for watching Tran's play A Little Lily Princess. We'll see you next time.
We caught Becky. See you next time.
You make it sound like a flu.
Huh?
You make it sound like a flu.
Oh. We saved Becky.
Oh, we saved Slattery.
Oh. We got the cat!
No, actually the cat returned itself.
We met a monkey.
That is true.